Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool Classic Kids Show, and today we gotta talk about Until Dawn because it's kind of crazy how this game came to fruition. It's not one that anybody was expecting to get a remake. So we had Until Dawn, a PS4 game, a very visually impressive PS4 game for its time, admittedly so. And is a game that I got day one. Me and a bunch of my buddies actually got day one. We all thoroughly enjoyed the game. It was really fun. It is an interactive movie video game, so it's kind of like how do you say like traditional slasher film, but in the form of a movie with choices. And overall, man, it was one of those that's like, yeah, I had a lot of fun with this little movie sort of interactive game. And it was recently announced, I think, either early this year or late last year, that Until Dawn was getting a remake on Unreal Engine 5. And honestly, the reception of this news was very divisive. I wouldn't even say divisive, it was mostly negative. Um, Everyone around me was like, why does this even exist? And it was one of those where, like, for me, this is my personal take. Does it need or deserve a remake? Objectively speaking, no. A nice little remaster would have sufficed very nicely, actually, if you wanted to go that route. But objectively, I have to be honest, it doesn't need or deserve a remake. Now, was I personally like, oh wow, I'm actually kind of interested in this, even despite it not necessarily justifying its own existence? Yeah. I mean, we're getting remakes and remasters of so many other games that it's like, why? I mean, we have a remake of The Last of Us. Oh, we have a remaster of The Last of Us Part 2. So at this point, man, if it's a game that I really have a fondness for, I mean, I guess at this point, why not? It's not like these creators can come up with anything new or interesting these days anyway. So yeah, from a subjective standpoint, I was like, this is this is kind of cool. I'm like low key kind of like interested to see what the changes, how different this remake is going to be from the original game. But then now it's just revealed what the price is. And this is where it becomes completely unjustifiable, admittedly so. So we got Until Dawn PS5 remake is expected to retail at $60. Consumers will have to pay the Sony tax. Now, I mean, that's a little bit of a divisive headline, but I mean, it's to get attention after all. But $60 for a remake that most people, objectively speaking, most people are not interested in is a big ask. Even for me, someone that was like, yeah, I'll mess around with this. I was thinking more so at $40, preferably for me at 30. But 60? That's crazy, bro. It's almost like Sony. It almost feels like Sony is setting up this dev team to fail. And Sony doesn't own the Until Dawn developers. Let me see. The developer's name is Ballistic Moon. They were a part of Supermassive Games, but if I'm not mistaken, some of the Supermassive Games original like co-founders left and created Ballistic Moon. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's the case. So this is more like a second party collaboration to remake Until Dawn. They said the upcoming remaster version of Until Dawn will be released with a pricey tag, as a leak by Deal Labs suggests the title should be off to retail at $60. For those unaware, a new PS5 version of Until Dawn is expected to hit stores in upcoming months. And this is not only coming to PS5, but also PC day and date. So that's been a bit of a controversial subject amongst PlayStation console gremlins who want to act like they still have exclusives, but and this is the difference between the two visually, and admittedly so, from what I've seen of pictures between the remaster and the remake, it's kind of hit and miss when it looks better or worse. But objectively speaking, the Unreal Engine 5 overhaul visuals look nicer. And this isn't a remaster, this is actually a remake, but it's very dedicated to the original. They're actually adding a lot of new stuff from what I'm hearing, like new areas to the game and stuff like that. So it is like an expanded remake sort of deal. to some extent. I'm not sure exactly how insane they're going with it, but that's the idea. They said with the recent emergence of the release date of the title for both PS5 and PC, where the game will make its debut, we now have an idea of the price point at which Until Dawn is expected to retail, credited to the leak by the famous whistleblower um, Bill Khan on Deal Lab. So Bill Khan, he knows stuff. He's definitely leaked out a lot of stuff before that has turned out to absolutely be true. Um, I can't recall him being caught in a lie or an untruth. When he leaks stuff, it tends to be on point. He said, interestingly, a dedicated physical disc for the new title will also be released alongside. And in terms of pricing, here is how it will look. It will look like, and this is 60 for U.S. markets. Ugh. 70 for European markets. Oh my god. $111 Australian is disgusting. And $80 Canadian. Ugh. Just when I thought we had it bad in the US. I mean, it's bad all around, don't get me wrong. We're in such a ridiculous state economically, like the entire world at this point. Like asking this price for this game specifically is just ridiculous. Says some PlayStation fans consider the pricing outrageous. It is indeed outrageous. There's really nothing else to say. The demand for this game is quite low. As shitty as it is to say, I would like to see the game do well, specifically because I do value the format of the interactive movie. I prefer it over, for example, like video games that claim to be action but then want to play out like film. To me, I hate that. But when you're going into a video game and you're saying, yeah, this is going to be designed to feel like a film and be interactable, then I'm fine with it. That's where either I'm okay with it or I hate it. So, I do value these types of games. I do like supermassive games. I would like to see a remake of this actually do well. I hope they didn't spend an immense amount of money on it. I even like Quantic Dream, the developers of Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. I think that they're phenomenal at what they do. I even like a lot of the Telltale games from back in the day, particularly Season 1 and 2 of The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us. The Wolf Among Us 2 is a game that I'm still highly anticipating all of these years later, and I hope that they will not drop the ball on that. But it is, this pricing is quite wild. And given the other remaster counterparts, and they're calling this a remaster, and it's not. This is a ground-up remake from what I've been told. Now, it's always debatable. It's always hard to tell exactly what the difference is, because remaster and remake, it's always been like, how do you say it? There's no definitive answer usually. But it seems like they put a lot more work into this than what you would deem a remaster would usually get. They said such as The Last of Us Part 2 initially retailed at $50 European on PS5, and the original version of the title is much cheaper nowadays, but also the remaster of The Last of Us Part 2, if I'm not mistaken, is like $70. The remake of The Last of Us cost $70. And it was lacking content. So, I mean, you have to consider what you value. Like, for me, I still have yet to buy the remake of The Last of Us because it does not have factions. That is a whole other portion of that game that tripled my playtime easily. I loved factions. The fact that a remake of The Last of Us excluded factions was a massive downgrade, not worth $70 at all to me. And even nowadays, I think I've seen the game at like $40. I still don't think it's worth it because the more as time goes on, the less value these games have. So that's just how I feel personally. They said the pricing move will certainly raise questions about whether the newer Until Dawn will do any good for Sony in the markets. It's not going to do well. I can already tell. Quote me on that if you want to. And it's sad. I have no vitriol towards the game. I like the original game. I was quite interested in this game, but I was interested at like the $40 price point. There's too many games coming out. There's games that I actually really, really want to get that I'm highly anticipating that are new experiences. like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, um, like the Black Myth Wukong game that's coming out. Like, there's not enough time, and these games are expensive. You know, as shit as it is to have to look at my favorite piece of entertainment, my favorite entertainment medium in this way. I just don't have that insane amount of time like I used to um to 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 play these games, let alone afford a lot of these games. Yeah, we have to look at how valuable our time is as well as the games are, and this is not a game that is valued at the $60 price point in modern day for a similar experience to the original. They said despite the hype around the title, there is no hype around this title. Like, that's the thing that sucks about it. That's how I know it's gonna fucking fail. There is zero hype around this. As shitty as it is for me to say that, I wish there was hype around the title, but there is none. So there is no hype around this title from what I'm seeing, and such high prices will certainly lower consumer enthusiasm, which can reflect poor sales. There is, I think that this title, it's sad to say this, but I think Until Dawn Remake wasn't going to sell well to begin with, even at a $40 price point. This is not, nobody, prior to the announcement of this remake, nobody was asking for a remake of Until Dawn. And then when it was announced at, I believe, the Game Awards, if I'm not mistaken, everyone was like, why? And I was like, why not? You know, and I knew it was silly. It's silly for me to have that perspective, but it's more so, it's, how do you say, like, it's not just subjective, but it's more so selfish of me. It's like, why not? I'm a little bit selfish when it comes to this title specifically, and we all have those titles that we're a little bit selfish on, admittedly so. But I'm being honest about it. I'm being upfront. I'm being a little bit selfish with, like, hey, I would actually like this as a remake, but not at $60. I'm sad to say, and I hope the best for these developers. We're entering a period of time in which so many developers are dropping like flies, and this is a scary time to release a remake that wasn't really asked for at $60 in 2024. I wish the best for them. I feel like Sony is setting them up to fail. Whether it's directly or indirectly, I can't really speak to that. But I'm sure that Sony picks the price point, and this isn't a very competitive one. But guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Follow me over on Twitter. My new Twitter is at Mario Kart. Yes, my old Twitter got canned. You can find that in the description below. Follow me over on Twitch, where I play video games. I'm going to get back to doing Twitch soon, guys. I promise. I do also have my movie channel in which I am working on a review of Alien Romulus, as well as doing a little bit of editing for basically some thoughts that I have in regards to Deadpool and Wolverine, or the discussion around Deadpool and Wolverine now. So yeah, guys, if you're into that, definitely follow my movie channel at The Movie Cage. And yeah, with all that being said, I'm out. Peace.